Hi everyone. I'm still in the Bearing book, chapter 11. I noticed here on page 86 what I would call a bit of planted propaganda. It's a little box they have on Barnabas, son of comfort. But they try to make the early church look like the modern day Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll just read you the little piece that I'm talking about. It's the middle paragraph. It says, at Pentecost 33 CE, 3,000 new disciples were baptized. It is likely that many of these had traveled to Jerusalem for the festival and had not planned to stay in the city as long as they did. The congregation needed resources to care for this multitude. Therefore, Barnabas sold a piece of land and generously brought the money to the apostles as a contribution. And they reference Acts 4, verses 32 to 37. We'll read that in a moment. But what I would say is look out for things like the wording, it is likely, because then you're going to be given an assumption by the Watchtower. So they're coming to a conclusion and they're going to present it. So in this case, they're making it sound as if the people, the early church, were selling property and giving funds, almost like an emergency funding for a convention or something. It is presented as if they had to take care of these visitors in Pentecost. But we'll read the text and you see if you find that anywhere in the text. But they made a similar point earlier in the book. I didn't comment on it at the time, but on page 41 they also reference Acts 4 in that one, plus another one. So I'll just read what they say here. They're talking about many of the disciples being baptized were visitors to Jerusalem and wanted to learn more before returning home. Disciples living in Jerusalem willingly donated funds to meet the need for food and other supplies. And they reference Acts 2:44 to 46 and part of the one that was referred to in that I referred to before, chapter 4. So I thought we should probably read those two and see what you find in those texts as to the suggestion of them doing this as a means of taking care of people who are visiting. Acts chapter 2, we'll start at verse 44 is where they've suggested 44 to 47. All those who became believers were together and had everything in common, and they were selling their possessions and properties and distributing the proceeds to all according to what each one needed. And day after day they were in constant attendance in the temple with a united purpose, and they took their meals in different homes and shared their food with great rejoicing and sincerity of heart. I don't hear anything in here that would suggest this is taking care of special needs of visitors. Well, let's then go to chapter 4, verses 32 to 37. Moreover, the multitude of those who believed were of one heart and soul, and not even one of them would say that any of the things he possessed was his own, but they had all things in common. And with great power the apostles continued giving the witness about the resurrection of the Lord Jesus. And undeserved kindness was upon them all in large measure. In fact, no one was in need among them, for all those who owned fields or houses would sell them and bring the value of what was sold, and then they would deposit it at the feet of the apostles. In turn, distribution would be made to each one according to his need. So Joseph, who was also called by the apostles Barnabas, which means, when translated, son of comfort, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, owned a piece of land, and he sold it and brought the money and deposited it at the feet of the apostles. So in those two accounts, it sounds to me like we're talking about a general spirit among the early church believers of generosity and of caring for each other's needs, paying attention to the needs of one another and then meeting those needs. I'm going to link to a video we did on Acts chapter 2 called 7 Characteristics of Christ's Church in Acts chapter 2.